So this is the Zoo Man, and I want to apologize first and foremost because of the way this video is going to be presented. I had high hopes of the way this was going to be done, but as the days and the weeks progressed, I just kept running into roadblocks. And so as the data became not irrelevant, but it became old, I just felt that I had to get the video out there before it became too old. So that's why I just felt I had to just get it done and get it out there. So here we go. Okay, so once again, this is the Zoo Man. And as always, I will ask you to please subscribe and share this video. Now, normally I do political stuff, and this will be a political video of sorts, but mostly this is for the average American family. And I'm going to show in dollars and cents what this current administration has cost the average taxpaying family. So what I've put together is a slide presentation of facts and figures through formulations. And the reason I put this together is I have kind of a strong background in both business consulting and management. And through those careers, I have always been able to drill down and find both dollars and free up dollars in both budgeting and find problems and strategic planning and so forth. So really, without any further ado, let's get on with this slide presentation. And then, as always, I'll ask for comments and for you to share the video and, of course, always subscribe. So, again, you'll see it. And thanks again for always subscribing and sharing. So, again, this is the Zoo Man, and thanks again. This presentation is called National Debt, or in other words, Democratic Debt, created by the Zoo Man, February 14th, 2022. Data collected was obtained through Google, government websites, and also from White House speeches. And of course, where data was unavailable, dollar figures were extremely underestimated. Now, here are some observations. This is what we have lost since 2020. Besides our freedom, energy independence, almost 1 million lives to COVID, our faith in government, media, big tech, education system, and our financial freedom. Security, especially those at the southern border, and China has essentially dropped a nuclear bomb on the world, killing nearly 6 million people while financially benefiting with no consequences. Now, the following slides will all be duplicates of this slide. This is the template I created, which will show basically 4 categories and the totals for each. The first one's going to show U.S. COVID deaths as of 2/14/22, followed by the U.S. COVID hospitalizations, which is really the cases, most of which were hospitalizations, then followed by the closure of the Keystone Pipeline, which ultimately caused the increase in the price of gasoline, and then the cost of groceries and other goods and services, and what that cost impacted the U.S. families, and then finally the cost of the illegal immigrants at the southern border. Now, we're going to get into what each one is. And I've highlighted each one so it'll be easier for you to read. And we're going to go to each slide next. So here we have it highlighted in yellow, and you can see that there, as of 2/14, now it's increased since that date, but 918,000 deaths in the US, and I've applied a cost of $250,000. Now, I know that's probably on the low side, but that total is going to be $229.5 billion. This next slide is the U.S. COVID hospitalizations / cases, and I've applied a cost of $11,500 per case. And that's the ER cost plus another $10,000, which again, I believe is way on the low side. And that cost multiplied out is $892.4 billion. Okay, we're gonna go to the next slide. Okay, so here we have the cost of gasoline as it is directly affected with the closure of the Keystone Pipeline plus inflation. Now, here's an interesting fact. This is the daily consumption of gasoline according to the EIA.gov website for 2020. Now, you got to remember that this was a shutdown year because of the pandemic, but we still used 338 million gallons of gasoline per day. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but it's really not when you think about it. So this was a cost at $1 per gallon increase, which again is very low, a very low estimate that I included. So $365, that's $1 per day per gallon per year. This multiplies out at $123.37 billion. So we'll go to the next slide. Okay, so this is the cost for the average US family. There are 79.6 million families in the United States. The average cost per year since 2020 is $5,500 per year. That's an increase, obviously. So you multiply that out, this winds up to be $437.8 billion increase. Okay. Okay, in this last section, I know there's going to be a lot of disputes over this, but, you know, this number, I put, again, on the low side, 1.2 million illegal immigrants that broached the southern border, you know, or breached, whatever word you want to use. But, you know, this again is on the low side. And, you know, the president, you know, he tried to backtrack on the amount, but, you know, at one point they were going to give $450,000 per child, or per child that was, you know, unaccompanied that came across the border. So what I did was I applied $250,000. When you think about this amount, you have to think about the cost over a lifetime that they will be in this country. And again, this is, in my mind, a very low number of all the services they're going to be receiving. So if you multiply this out, this comes out to be $300 billion. Okay, now you'll see the total here, but I'm going to go to the next slide. And here you see the total, and it's $1.983 trillion. And again, these numbers are on the low side. And in my mind, you know, this is basically $2 trillion as of 2/14. Now, this is on the low side. So we're going to go to the next slide, and we're going to summarize everything. So we have $1.98 trillion in lost money to American people. Again, on the low side, we have much more to lose in the coming years. Now, if you think this is disputable, this is something you need to figure out for yourself. Gas usage in 2020 represents a pandemic lockdown year. What does this mean? 2021, it cost us a lot more than that. And it also did not account for diesel or oil consumption. You add that to the mix, we're looking at a lot more money, folks. So I want you to consider something. If President Biden represented a pair of shoes that you purchased in 2020, would you return them? Okay, something to think about. So if you think this is scary, wait till you see what I have coming next. This is the Zoo Man. Let me know what your comments are, and please subscribe. Okay, folks, that's it. Sorry for this, the way this video came out, but I think in the end, it actually was a better way to do this. I was hoping to make this seamless and do it through either iMovie or through a video that was going to be more seamless. But in a way, this was better. I was able to zoom in and out. So again, let me hear your comments, and I will be posting this shortly. Thanks again.